we were kind of discussing when we first started this process, like how are we going to get that much, whatever money our down payment was. And when our lender Jesse offered this to us and showed us the numbers, it was kind of a relief that we have something that helps us, that it's something with some resources out there that will help us in this process.
I never thought I would have a real home. I thought I would be living in an apartment for the rest of my natural life. And when I went back to work for Habitat, Brittany and Matt said, well, you ought to apply for a house. You're just the right kind of person we need to apply for a house. And I thought, oh gosh, you don't know what can of worms you're going to open. And it turns out everything works. God has a way to work everything for our good.
When I came over here, I was in a homeless program with the veterans in Cincinnati, and I looked for a lot of places. There are not a lot of affordable places that accept vouchers, and I was very happy that this place did.
With Kentucky Housing Corporation's support, the Housing Partnership over the last 5 years has been able to leverage up nearly $50 million in West Louisville, and we're continuing to work with them on new projects, and hopefully in the short term we'll have more success stories coming out of West Louisville with the partnership with Kentucky Housing.
And the same people that I started off with are the same people I finished off with. They're the same people I still consider to be my closest friends and my support group today. So for me it's created lifelong friendships and support in a way that I felt like I didn't have before.
Bank of England Mortgage is honored to be a part of Kentucky Housing, to be an approved lender of Kentucky Housing, and we hope to provide many more prospective home buyers the opportunity to buy a home utilizing Kentucky Housing programs.
The rest of this easy today. These scenes, I think, touch us all and mean a lot to us all, and it means a lot to what Kentucky Housing Corporation is all about. Welcome, Governor. Thank you for being here today. We really do appreciate it. To the staff of the Kentucky Housing Corporation, thank you all for being here, and for all other interested guests that are either appearing virtually or watching us virtually or here otherwise. We appreciate you being here today. Good afternoon. My name is Winston Miller. I'm the Executive Director of the Kentucky Housing Corporation. Today is a special celebration. We stand in the cottages of Frankfurt, a development that was constructed in the year 2000. It houses 120 seniors like Mike Pearson, who you're going to hear from a little later this morning, in fact, in about a minute, via video. Mike has been a tenant of the cottages of Frankfurt for more than 7 years, and he works every day here at the cottages, making this a more beautiful and safe community for all of the neighbors, not only the neighbors that reside here in the cottages of Frankfurt, but the neighbors that reside in the community of Frankfurt generally, and more particularly close to us. You have the video?
Well, they offer a reasonable price for one thing that's affordable for seniors. I'm a senior. And they are nice apartments. You know, if you take care of them, they'll last forever. And compared to every place else, like I'm from West Virginia, I relocated here to be near my children, my grandchildren. I couldn't get an apartment like this for under $1,500 in West Virginia. So this is like half the price of what you would get, and it's much better apartments. Why not? This is, you know, it is affordable, and it's close. We're within 5 miles of everything: hospitals, doctors, places to eat, places to shop. It's all within a couple minutes of here. That makes it really nice. Shop. It's all within a couple minutes of here. That makes it really nice.
Is that it for Mike? Well, if Mike were here with us, I would thank him personally for giving us some insight to the value that he sees here and the importance of this place to him. For COVID reasons, we've restricted the size of the crowd, so Mike's not here with us for me to thank him personally. This community and this building would not have been possible if it had not been for the support and the advocacy of Representative Mae Street Kidd. 50 years ago, she sponsored a bill that created the Kentucky Housing Corporation. She knew that affordable housing was not available to her constituents, nor was it available to the rest of the citizens of the state of Kentucky. Thanks to her diligence, more than 76,000 families and individuals have purchased their first home in the last 50 years, thanks to the programs that would otherwise not have been available except for the Kentucky Housing Corporation, which her legislation created. Her efforts gave these families and individuals a stable foundation. And after Kentucky Housing Corporation was created, it began administering rental programs, rental assistance programs, to give low-income individuals affordable homes so that they and their families could also have a stable place to grow. Because of Representative Kidd, those who are homeless or risk homelessness can still find shelter and supportive services to help them get back on their feet. Representative Kidd's signature legislation funded low-income housing, including providing developers special funding for constructing and creating affordable, safe, comfortable housing like these cottages, which Mike described and which you're observing here today. Countless other programs, including weatherization services, Recovery Kentucky, Scholar House, disaster relief, and new COVID assistance programs all flowed from Mae Street Kidd's vision. As she said in her book, which she wrote, Passing for Black was the name of the book, she said, quote, now you need to know that when I start something, I intend to do it right. I expect to win. I will work hard, and I expect everyone else to do so also. Close quote. At Kentucky Housing Corporation, we try to live up to her expectations every day. For the last 50 years, Kentucky Housing Corporation has followed her example, and today, on her birthday, this anniversary of her birthday, we kick off the year of affordable housing in Kentucky. Throughout 2022, we will celebrate Kentucky Housing Corporation's 50th year by continuing to invest in and serve the Commonwealth. It is now my pleasure to introduce Governor Andy Beshear who will declare 2022 Kentucky Housing Corporation's 50th anniversary. Thank you. Well, first, thank you to Winston for not only starting us off today, but for his leadership. When I asked Winston to leave an incredible law career that he dedicated his life to and join this administration, I promised him there'd be many challenges. I did not tell him that we would ask him to lead a housing corporation in the midst of a pandemic, when housing was more important to everyone than ever before. But isn't it amazing how the universe can sometimes speak to you? We're at the birthday of Mae Street Kidd, who helped create the Housing Corporation. We're at the 50th anniversary of the Kentucky Housing Corporation. And we're doing this in the midst of a pandemic when your housing has never been more important to your overall, not just outlook, but your actual health. So let me just say to Winston, and my goodness, every single person who works at the Kentucky Housing Corporation, thank you so much for your efforts throughout this year. You've helped save lives. We appreciate it. And on the 50th anniversary, you might think we'd be doing this inside the rotunda in the midst of, I guess, the pageantry. But the Kentucky Housing Corporation doesn't exist to serve the people that work inside that rotunda, though some of them may actually sometimes need this assistance. We're doing this instead today at a place that was financed in part through the Kentucky Housing Corporation. We're doing this at a place where this organization has provided the true service that has helped people like the gentleman that you met have that affordable housing that otherwise wouldn't be possible. And if you just think through some of his words, what does it mean? He's able to be close to his family when otherwise he would not, but for the work of the Kentucky Housing Corporation. He's able to be close to hospitals and doctors, access to health care at a time when it's critically important. Being here today, when could you imagine seniors not having housing in the midst of what we have lived through and what that would mean when they are most vulnerable to COVID? So we're at a place today that I hope you find meaningful in your work for the Housing Corporation, or those of you supporting the Kentucky Housing Corporation. So I'm honored to be here to celebrate 50 years of incredible work. It means you started when I was -6, but you have continued to do important work as we move through. And I want to thank Winston for talking about the legacy of Mae Street Kidd. You know, she is one of many African-American heroes, pioneers, and patriots whose stories need to be told more often, because her story is an inspiration to everyone, and her legacy endures in these projects and in your work. Her legacy continues to inure to the benefit of so many Kentuckians that just need a little bit of help to live those types of prosperous lives that we want for everybody. So for 50 years, the organization that her bill established has been helping people across Kentucky. We saw Owensboro and some of the other areas to secure and maintain a home. That's incredible. By the numbers, KHC has helped more than 76,000 individuals and families purchase their first home. And it provides rental assistance annually to more than 27,500 low-income Kentuckians. Just watching the video and seeing the smile on somebody's face, the dignity of being able to have a place you call a home, especially if you're raising kids in it. When you help a family buy a home, secure a home, or stay in their home, you can change the entire trajectory of that family's life, and we know that that ends up being intra-generational. It helps the current parents. It helps their kids. It helps their kids' kids and their kids' kids' kids. Just to name one example, how can we expect a child to focus on learning and do their homework if they don't know where they're going home to after school? And in the aftermath of deadly tornadoes that struck Western Kentucky in December, with the level of destruction that we have never seen, one traumatic, and just to walk down the streets of towns that I know and that I love, we've seen the hardship
of families that have lost absolutely everything, but especially their home. That's why one of the first things we did as soon as the winds died down was to work with state agencies, private partners, and the federal government to secure first temporary housing in hotels and state parks. And now we got people moving into travel trailers provided in part by FEMA. And they're nice. All brand new, 28 to 36 feet. You should see the smiles on these kids' faces and these families' faces as they're starting to just see some progress on trying to get back to where they were. Well, you know what? I think they may deserve a little bit better after what everybody has been through. KHC has been a leader in helping with this tornado response. Working with partners and area landlords, KHC has created a comprehensive list of more than 500 available rental units in Western Kentucky, and also, because we had to, Indiana, Tennessee. But I want to thank this organization for helping folks secure housing in their urgent time of need. And in fact, you have been so successful that a lot of the people that we're reaching out to for travel trailers has found a larger apartment or home to rent through the connections that have been made through KHC, and just being able to stretch maybe a little more elbow room, knowing that there is some level of permanency, that they don't have to worry about where they're coming home to the next day, is helping everybody psychologically on the road to recovery, especially getting those kids back in a routine, having a safe, stable place, and knowing where the bus is going to stop and pick them up on the way to school. And the reality is that housing is critical for our economy. I mean, think about where we are right now. We're on the cusp, I believe, of an era of prosperity, the likes of which I haven't seen in my lifetime. Breaking economic development records, both total investment last year, total number of new jobs, having one of the best Januaries we've had in both. This is a big piece of it. To have a stable workforce, to have folks that are healthy enough and ready to go to work, they need stable housing, and that starts with affordable housing. To truly push our state forward, to grasp our destiny, what KHC does is so critical in ensuring that everybody can have a chance at this coming prosperity, especially those people and those neighborhoods and those regions that are far too often left out. Yesterday, I announced the Team Kentucky Homeowners Assistance Fund, another federal fund administered by the state that is going to help so many people. Having stable housing has been so critical in the midst of COVID, and this ultimately solves or addresses one of the gaps that we've had. Early on, we had rental assistance that is still out there. We still have about $90 million to deploy after deploying about $100 million to help Kentuckians out. And so that meant that people who are renting could get back rent, could get forward rent, could get utilities paid for. But what about those homeowners that were struggling to get by? Well, now the Homeowners Assistance Fund can provide up to $35,000 per qualifying household to help meet overdue mortgage payments, utility bills, insurance premiums, property taxes, and homeowners association fees. In many ways, even more flexible than that renters program, and trying to get people back up on their feet, because we don't want to stumble out of this pandemic. We want to sprint with a bright, optimistic future. I mean, we talk about the challenges of our present being dark, but the future being more optimistic than most of us have ever seen. Let's make sure that our families don't have the impediments of being behind on mortgage, being behind on these payments, that prevent them from truly getting one of these great new jobs that's here in the Commonwealth and helping to push us forward. The program's made possible because of $85 million in Federal American Rescue Plan Act funds, and I just say to the federal government, thank you, and keep it coming. Since this pandemic began almost 2 years ago, we've seen how important people's homes are. And it's clear than ever that affordable housing is absolutely critical to everything we do. We talk about the health, the education, and the economic opportunities of our people, right? That's what we want to provide to every Kentucky family. What KHC does, what you've been doing for 50 years, and what we're going to need a lot more of going forward, is to give that little help, to make sure we can get people on the right path and to truly grab our spot as a leader in this country, to leapfrog not 3 but 30 other states. We need to make sure we remove an impediment that has plagued many of our families, and that's a lack of affordable housing. So today, I am proud to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Kentucky Housing Corporation on the birthday of Mae Street Kidd at a facility made possible by her bill and this organization's hard work. So with that, we have an acclamation to sign, and if I can, well I can because I'm governor, I'd invite all of our employees from KHC that are here to join us for the signing.
That'd be great. Thank you, Governor. This is when being double vaccinated, boosted, and masked comes in handy. That was intentional for those at home. All right, so first we look up.
Got the signing down, Governor?
Yeah, let's see my ground brother. And here,
You can move the dirt, right?
here we go. All right, congratulations. Thank you. And let's see, we have 5 more, we can always find more. But this is pretty bad when you're the person who, there you go. There we go. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And Mary, can we deliver about 4 more?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get that handled. Thank you all. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you, Governor. Thank you.
Great, Governor, we have time on the schedule.